Hi, this is About Theories. Welcome to the class of SDG Mapping with Facts and also covering some schemes. Let's move on to first SDG. SDG 1. Poverty ended in all forms everywhere. First fact says 30% of our population is in poverty during 2011 and 12 according to C. Rangarajan report. Also, Oxfam report says 10% of population of India holds around 60% of national income. Niti Aayog launched multidimensional poverty index in which our multidimensional poverty reduced from 29.17% to 11.28% in 2022-23, and 24 crore people have been escaped poverty. There are three dimensions which are covered under multidimensional poverty index, which are health, education, standard of living. All three have been given equal weightage. Let's move on to next SDG. SDG 2. End hunger and achieve food security. First fact says India is going to miss global nutrition target by 2025 according to WHO report. In India, around 66% of population are covered under National Food Security Act 2013, and in this 75% of rural population covered and 50% of urban population are covered. Next fact, 74% of Indians cannot afford healthy diet. Healthy diet means having combination of vegetables, fruits, meat, egg, etc. according to UN Agency Report 2023. India became net food exporter compared to food aid dependent during independence. This is according to Global Hunger Index, and India ranked 111. Let's move on to next SDG. Good health. First fact says maternal mortality rate decreased from 122 to 130, and also infant mortality rate reduced from 50 to 30 during the period of 10 years. This is according to sample registration survey. And National Health Policy 2017 report says IMR should reach 28. Second fact, India is spending 1.3% of GDP on health, whereas NHP 2017 targets 3%. Third fact, in Ayushman Bharat scheme, 50 crore people are covered, and this includes bottom 40% of population, according to National Health Authority. Fourth fact, Indians are spending 48.8% of health expenditure out of pocket. It has been reduced from 67% during NFHS 4 to NFHS 5, and NHP 2017 targets 30% OOPE. According to Health Ministry, doctor to population ratio in India is 1:1,500, but WHO recommends 1:1,000. In India, public sector has 11% of doctors, whereas private sector provides 70% of health service. This is according to Central Bureau of Health Intelligence data. And also, in Smart Cities Mission, only 1% has been dedicated to health infrastructure development. Next fact, India has life expectancy of average 69 according to SRS. Birth in institutional facilities has been increased during NFHS 5, but still 40% of babies don't get milk within golden hour, that is first hour of birth. Next SDG 4, education, quality education. India spends around 3.1% of GDP on education, but economic survey recommends 6%. Second fact, gross enrollment ratio of higher education was 28.4% in 2021-22 period. And R&D expenditure by India is 0.7% as per Niti Aayog report. And if India has to reach $5 trillion economy, GRD should be 2%. And also China spends 2.5% on R&D. Literacy rate in India, according to census 2011, is 74. Let's move on to next SDG. SDG 5. First fact, 14% of MPs elected in Lok Sabha 18 election is women. Second fact says 33% of women are involved in agriculture. It's according to Economic Survey 2021. And then third fact says women are holding 13% of land according to Center for Land Governance Index. 8% of women are represented in police force according to MOSPI. And also 45% of women are represented in Panchayat as a member. Less than 1 in 5 women are holding managerial positions in organizations according to Ministry of Statistics and Programming Implementation. Around 25% of female labor participation rate are recorded in Economic Survey 2021. And also 1 in 15 minutes rape is happening in India according to NCRB. And according to Gender Gap Index by World Economic Forum, India is ranked 127. Let's move on to next SDG, SDG 6, clean water and sanitation. India is extracting 25% of global groundwater, and 70% of groundwater is extracted as to use in India. It is according to Central Groundwater Board. And also 40% of population in India have no access to drinking water according to Niti Aayog. Some schemes like Atal Bhujal scheme with the help of World Bank and also Jal Jeevan Mission is being implemented. NASA, according to NASA report, India's groundwater table is decreasing by 1.3 meter per year. Let's move on to next SDG, SDG 7, energy resources. India passed Panchamrit scheme in COP26 in Glasgow. In this, first target is achieving net zero emission by 2070. Second target is reducing carbon emission by 1 billion tons. Third target is 45% of greenhouse gas emission intensity should be reduced by 2050. Fourth target, 500 gigawatt of electricity should be produced from renewable energy. And also 50% of energy should be produced from non-fossil fuel by 2050. Second fact, 20% of bioethanol should be mixed with petrol by 2025. We are already 10% achieved. And also 5% of biodiesel mixed with diesel by 2030. These two are biofuel targets. And also, Oxfam report says wealthiest 1% humanity is responsible for 2 times the emission of greenhouse gases by 50% of poorest population. Let's move on to next SDG. SDG 8. Growth and employment. India has been ranked third in the world in terms of entrepreneurship. And also 3.2% of unemployment rate has been recorded in 2023. Before the launch of PM Jan Dhan Yojana, 40% of our population had no access to banking facility. Now 99% of them are covered. And also Economic Survey 2023-24 says 1 in 2 who graduate are deemed employable. So some are lacking skills and training. Let's move on to next SDG, SDG 9. 3 I's: infrastructure, innovation and industry. India has been ranked 40 in Innovation Index by WIPO. And also India has been ranked second in road length and 2% of road network and 40% of road traffic holded by national highways. And also India is ranked 4th in railway network. Port is handling 90% of volume of trade and 70% of value of trade. Let's move on to next SDG, reduced inequalities. First fact says India has been ranked 134. It has been increased from 132 in 2022 in Human Development Index released by UNDP. This index covers 3 parameters. One is health, another one is education, third one is national income. Second fact is related to income inequality, which is Gini coefficients released by World Bank. India has 35% of income inequality in 2020. Let's move on to next SDG, SDG 11. Sustainable cities. Urban population is around 32% of total population in census 2011. It will be reached up to 50% in 2050 according to UN Habitat report. And 70% of GDP of a country is contributed by cities. It is according to WEF. And India has 17% of slum population according to census 2011. They have temporary houses in sanitary places. Let's move on to next SDG, SDG 13. It is climate action. It covers SDG 7 also, which is energy resources. India has been ranked 7 in climate change performance index. And also ecological threat register 2020 says demand for food will increase by 50% by 2050. And also greater than 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change, which is increase in temperature, seawater level increase, melting of ice, etc. And in urban Pakistan, due to depletion of water supply causing domestic violence, and also people from West Nepal has been migrating to India, which caused women insecurity in that region. These two are released by UNEP. And also World Bank says 148 million Indians will be living in climate change hotspots by 2050. Next fact is due to extreme temperature and drought, farmers' income will be reduced by 4 to 14%, and there will be a loss of $10 billion due to crop damage, which impacts on food security. This is by Economic Survey 2017 and 18. Let's move on to next SDG, life under water. India is ranked second after China in production of fish. In the second fact, around 10% of fish produced in India is exported to other countries. Let's move on to another SDG, life on land. Indian Forest Report 2021 says around 25% of India's area is covered by forest, and also it has to be reached to 33% according to National Forest Policy 1988. We reached last SDG, which is peace and justice. India is spending 0.08% of GDP on judiciary, and also 85% of cases registered in India takes 10 to 15 years by Daksh report, and also 3 in 4 prisoners in India are under trial, and 86% in subordinate courts, 13% in high courts, 0.2% in Supreme Courts. Cases are pending. Indian jails are overcrowded, having occupancy rate of 130% according to NCRB report 2022. There will be a loss of 6% of GDP in India due to terrorism and crime, which affect on India's peace according to Global Peace Index 2021.